Hello, this is your host speaking to our phone. A little disclaimer before we start this podcast episode. This podcast episode is a live episode where our coach was giving a strength and conditioning session. So I caught up with him in the live in the gym. So if you hear any noises, you will be hearing weights dropping, maybe some distant talking, and so on and etc. So just a little disclaimer before we start this episode. If you're ready to be inspired, educated, and challenged, come and put up a chair and join us at the Innovator table. Hello and welcome to the Innovator table. I'm your host, Terrell Farrell. Thank you for putting up a chair and joining me at the table. So, welcome back to the second half of the first episode featuring Coach Sterling, which is called Creating Court Stars. Here are some live,
we're live at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, we're live at the moment, so if you hear any noise in the background, that will be explaining the reason why. So it's a live episode, but here are some key points from the last episode. And the first question I'm going to ask you, Coach Sterling, is who is Coach Sterling?
When I say elitist, it was we were in a position where we had some of the best players around.
Okay.
So I've been involved in basketball since I was about 14 years old.
Okay. So yeah, those are the key points from the last episode. So the first episode, so reading from what I said last time and naming the podcast Innovator, I want to keep it on a sense of innovation. So I'm going to introduce Coach Sterling once again.
Hello everyone. This is Coach Sterling here from Sedgehill Academy and London Thunder Basketball Club.
So one of the main things I want to keep up, like I said, it's about innovation. So what I want to ask you is, how do you inspire children into innovation? Like, it's all good and well saying, do this and do that. Like, back in my parents like to say back in my day. But it's 2023, and like it's like Gilbert's law. The biggest problem with the job is that nobody tells you what to do. What would you say is how to innovate children into innovation?
Everyone's vision. So whilst you can tell people, oh, do it this way, put this amount of work in, this is what you've got to do, they need to see people who have done it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they need to be opened up to, I guess, inspiration, really. People who talk their language and people they can aspire to be like. And I'm fortunate that I've got certain resources that I can tap into. And, I guess, make things come to life in the sense that I'd probably call in a player who I used to coach, and they haven't been a success on the court or off the court, but the bottom line is they've used basketball and the lessons that they've learned from, not only myself, but the people that I was fortunate enough to expose them to, and, brought their interpretations of success and the success that they have right now to life.
Yeah. So thinking back on what you just said, I think, me personally, I mentor a couple of students, and a lot of students I go to, they all don't have the drive anymore. And it sounds a little bit cliche me saying it, because I'm 50 myself, so I'm part of this generation. But I think a lot of children don't have the drive to kind of do things anymore. I think the fact that you go on your phone and you type up a word and it predicts things for you, I think it's being accustomed to think everything comes fast. So would you say that, well, I think this is answer's clear, but would you say innovation takes a long, long while? So how long would you say it took for you to innovate into your basketball academy and innovating people to be court stars?
I mean, it's just continuous. It's a lot. There's no set time. They turn around and say it's 10,000 hours, but what about when you reach that 10,000 hours? What's next? So
yeah.
I can't put a time on it, but a lot of it's to do with your passion, and however long that flame lasts, that's how long it will keep burning and it will keep going. I would say from basketball standpoint, you play for as long as you feel you can play for.
Yeah.
But then your involvement, if you love the sport, it carries on regardless.
So one of the main questions I did want to ask you is, what are your what keeps you going? Like, what is the reason you are still going? Because I think I said to someone maybe about half an hour ago, you lose your reason and you lose yourself. Why? What is your reason? Why do you keep going?
I love basketball. I'm a fan of basketball. First and foremost, number one. I'm also, very competitive.
Yeah.
And I love to see people succeed. You know, I take a lot of pride in helping someone to be the best version of themselves. And I know that sounds cliche, but if you're how can I put it? If you're ingraining yourself in something, then the best version of you will come out if you're putting your best effort in. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why I do it. I just love the game of basketball.
So, you didn't finish the story on how you created your basketball academy. So the last thing I'm pretty remember you saying is that you had one of the best players on the court. So, what is the story behind that?
So I started up Sedgehill Academy by working at another academy in South East London.
Okay.
Ended up leaving there, and I was going to come out of basketball.
Oh wow.
I was going to come out of basketball simply because I felt a little bit burnt out, and you know, a few little things happened. And then, you know, I sat down with someone and they said, you know what, you still got too much to offer. I also sat down with previous players and they said, Coach, why are you giving up on something that you love doing just because of a bit of adversity that happened? You know, you always told us when it comes to adversity, you got to fight through it. So I was in a very low, dark place. I didn't want to carry on, but I mean, you know, if I've given people advice about something and people have seen the good in me, then I thought it was best that I just, you know, try it again. I ended up at Sedgehill because there were two teachers here that knew me, and they're both looking for me at the same time to. I'll have to mention names on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Miss Kennedy and Mr. Jones.
Oh, okay.
Right, they've known me for years, so they were both trying to get hold of me to start basketball at the school, and my thing was, well, if I'm going to start out basketball, then I want it to be whole school, all right, and go all the way through. I was introduced to a few people here. I was introduced to Mr. Barrett, who's the head of PE, and Mr. Antini, who's the head of sixth form. And, you know, they both had their reservations about setting up an academy because of what had happened here previously through another sport. So, you know, they decided, well, you know what, let's try and give it a go. Spoke to Mr. McGar, who was previously here. And then they opened it up to Miss Cassidy, and, you know, she was a big believer in it. I also used to work with Miss Oregano.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I used to also work with Miss Oregano, and, you know, she's very senior in the school as well, so no doubt my reputation probably, you know, there you go. And I mean, it started out as me just coming in on a Thursday.
Yeah, I remember.
Then the school gave me a year to support me, but set up the academy. And at the time, as up to present day, I was coaching with London Thunder basketball club. So, you know, I've just put the two together because the club needed a basketball academy. The school, you know, had so much potential for a basketball academy, especially because of the facilities. And, you know, here we are today where, you know, we're in our first year of Sedgehill sixth form basketball academy.
So, I went to the sixth form open evening, and when Mr. Hu explained that it was actually a curriculum, I was quite surprised. So, say that people wanted to come to Sedgehill and learn about basketball. Is learn the right word to use?
Right. So what it is with the basketball academy, any of the players that have applied to come to the basketball academy, they go through trials.
Okay.
Now with the trials, you know, it's basically we get a pick of who we want and who's been successful with the trials. The basketball curriculum is put into their timetable, so it's a block in its own. So whereas psychology would be a lesson, or maths and English is a lesson, basketball is a lesson.
Okay.
So there's 6 blocks a week. In that time, the players can do strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
They can have classroom sessions where we look at how they played in the games, or how they become a referee, a table official, or coach, and then we can have practices during the day as well.
Okay. So is that so now I'm going into sixth form and so on. I'm now learning about T levels and so on. Is that kind of, would you say that's a new thing? So as many schools doing this?
So there are a lot of basketball academies around the country at different levels, and some may have their programs running after school, before school, and then sessions, individual workout sessions during the day, whereas some might have practices during the day. So it just depends on how the program is structured.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, about innovation and inspiring. So I was speaking to a certain teacher the other day, and he thinks that a lot of students are burnt out. And when he told me that, I didn't know what he meant in a sense. And it's like, I understand now. And for me, a lot of people come up to me like, "Oh, you're old." But for me, I kind of take that as a compliment. For me,
you've got an old soul.
Old soul.
You've definitely got an old soul.
Yeah.
Like, you've been here before.
Yeah.
You've been here before.
For me, I love my old music. I love like blues music and reggae and jazz. But
you've definitely been here before.
Yeah. But for a lot of people, they say that, and I understand, because when I speak to a lot of people and a lot of children, I think that I wouldn't say silly. I would say silly. You know what? Let me rephrase that. I would say silly. I wouldn't say stupid. But I think how it is that a lot of children nowadays they're too easy. And why I say that is because when I speak to my nan, I think my nan's 94 next month. My nan's 94 this month. When she tells me about her school days, is that every student was on set on their goals. They had a dream of something, and I found that Martin Luther King there when I said dream. But a lot of children, I think they've lost their dream, and I think when I'm in the room now, we're in a gym, and I see a lot of students. A lot of them are just standing around, standing in the room, and I think clueless. They don't know what they're doing, and when I look at them, we've got work experience now. I'm doing work experience at JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. And when I talk to students about it, they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And it's like, I think a lot of students, they need to get themselves involved. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And it's about having a dream, it's about having a drive, and you're a product of your environment.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
At times you are. But if you surround yourself with people who you're going to listen to, it's difficult for kids to listen at.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Us as adults, we have to talk a certain language to them.
Yeah.
But if you're surrounded by people who are going to hold you to a high level of account,
100%.
all right, you're going to listen to, all right, and at times deal with the tough love.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of trust comes that way.
Yeah.
All right, they'll be able to trust you, and they know that above all else, you've got their best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Us as adults, we see the future better than you guys do.
100%, yeah.
We lived it, all right?
Yeah.
But, we also know
you have lived it.
Yeah. We also know what that world is like.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
yeah. I know.
It's not easy. And you know what? If you want to go for this thing, and it requires you to be a certain way, all right, and to act a certain way. And I'm not saying not be yourself, but if it requires you to have a certain mindset, which is the biggest thing, all right, if you get that mindset, you're going to click.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, you're going to click. If you don't have that, then you allow for little things to creep in, because one of the biggest creepers right now is social media.
100%.
Right? And if you allow that to creep in and you start to compare yourself to, I should be like this person and that person, all right, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to kill you because they're at a certain level and they're growing every day. But you're trying to get to the level that you see them at right now.
100%.
Yeah, you can't do that. You just got to, give your best, run your ways.
Yeah.
All right, and as long as you can you know, and once again, some of these things sound so cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
If you can, you know, at the end of the day, say to yourself, "Boy, I gave my best to them."
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I gave my best to them. All right, then you just turn around and go against more.
100%. So speaking of what you just said about social media, for me, I don't use social media, and a lot of people are like. So for me,
but I think you should use it, and I tell you why I think you should use it. Okay, because just sitting with you and talking with you, how you seem to be wired. There's not many 15-year-olds your age that are wired like that.
Yeah.
All right. So why not use it for that positivity and impact others?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, it
maybe
makes
you
sense,
should.
yeah.
And I understand what you're saying because, excuse me, you could get lost on social media
100%.
for ages. You could go looking at one thing and it takes you to something else, takes you to something else. So you know what? I think you should actually use it because your program, your platform is so inspirational. You know, now before we started this, all right, you as a 15-year-old was talking to a 17-year-old about what your day is like. All right, now you probably couldn't see it, but I know that kid, and the look on his face was like, wow, like this 15-year-old kid is telling me, you know, what he does to make himself successful. All right, so why not share that game with others?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I think.
That's
You
true.
use
Yeah.
your social media.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of what you just
Build
said.
your brand.
Yeah. So, speaking of what Coach Sterling just said, a lot of you know that my social media presence isn't really there. And like a lot of people ask me to message them on like social media, so i.e. Snapchat and WhatsApp, Instagram and so on. But the truth of the matter is I don't actually have the apps downloaded. And for me, I guess spoken on what Coach Sterling said, I should use it. For me, it's that I was once just sucked in. 2020 came, lockdown, and it was just bored.
Yeah, but that was like everyone.
Yeah,
that was like everyone. The first 2 days of lockdown, I did not know what to do. And no, like you're telling me that I cannot go out and do what I
know.
Like, that was madness to me.
I'm telling you, literally, I was sitting there and I have a PlayStation. At this time, I didn't even have a phone. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a PlayStation. Actually, I did have a PlayStation, and I was so lucky to get that Christmas because if I didn't, I would have been bored. But for me, is that lockdown for me? I think it either broke a lot of people or it built a lot of people. And for me, it built me and broke me. And I think for me, if lockdown never happened, I never would have started any of this. I never would have started my YouTube channel, which actually grew me as a person. I never would have started my cooking journey. If you know me, I'm a banging chef, so that was because of lockdown. Just sitting there, just experimenting and so on. But I think a lot of children, I think they need to have a break. And I think my nan said her days without social media. And like even when she said when social media came or when internet came, she was maybe about maybe like 3, I'm not sure.
How old is your nan?
94. Nan don't kill me if I got the age.
So, look, nan is probably about, let's say 64. Let's say the internet's been around for 20 years, not 64. It's probably 74.
Oh wow.
In fact, let me Google it. We're Googling it online. When was the internet found?
Yeah, I know. But for her, she said her days without social media was amazing. A lot of books. Books, for me, you know I love reading. I have to read every single day. And a lot of kids, they hate reading. And I don't understand why. Because listen to the podcast, you can see I'm very articulate. And not to sound like, what's the word? Not to sound bigging up myself, but I'm very articulate, and I think it's because I've read so many books. I've read 48 Laws of Power, 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson, Atomic Habits. What else is there?
Seven Habits.
Yes,
7 Habits
of highly effective people.
The internet was around January 1st, 1983, so you've had it for 40 years.
So people, it's like, I said her days without that was amazing. She read, she was able to get out, but I think for her, she says she loves social media, but she doesn't love it because she said the days that she used to go out, she used to have to you would say that you're going to be at this place then, and if you weren't there, you would just go. And I think for nowadays, it's just kids are like, oh, cool, your mates. But personally, I think you have to monitor how much time you're on social media. Because a lot of people, they think, when you think of addiction, you think smoking, drinking, drugs. But social media is addiction. Sugar's an addiction.
Basketball and buying trainers is my addiction.
Yeah, buying trainers is my addiction as well. If you know me, I think I have 367 trainers literally there, but literally they're all addictions, and it's kind of hard to think, wow, it's an addiction, but it's an addiction. Sugar's an addiction. That's why sometimes you just feel like, I'm craving it. But when you kind of look at yourself, you kind of, it's an addiction. But I think you have to monitor how much time you have on social media. So one thing I'm going to ask the viewers to do now is look at your screen time and what is your most used app. And I guarantee you, if you were the age from about 10 to about 16, I guarantee you it's TikTok. I guarantee you it's TikTok. And I was guilty of that for myself. Like, to be honest, I think my most used app right now is either Financial Times or LinkedIn. And that's because I'm always working. But I'm telling you, it's TikTok. But what would you say is the best way to lean children off of social media? Because it sounds so weird to say, but social media is an addiction, whether you like it or not.
Give more money to basketball because it's the fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah, fair enough.
Listen, there's no youth clubs anymore. There's definitely no youth clubs anymore. Also, and you know, there's people who talk about funding, but there's just not enough funding for the right things, and there's so much to do in order to obtain funding for the projects that will make kids just a little bit more focused on things. So definitely human interaction is definitely
100%. For me, I think one of the main things here is that you need a mentor as well. I think that kind of sounds weird to say, because I think a couple of years ago, I was one of those guys that was like, oh, I can do all this myself. And I think one of the main things you have to do before you try and innovate or even get into anything, you have to realize that you can't do everything yourself. You can't be a lone soldier forever. You cannot be a lone soldier forever. I was one of them guys that was like, I didn't talk to no one in my school. Once I got to a point, in year 7 I had loads of friends, and that's because I was just, in year 7 I was just a bad kid and I was just doing foolish stuff, and I think that's what everyone kind of liked. But when I got to the point where I read the first book that I actually read and I took everything it said was The 40 Laws of Power from Robert Greene. And after that, I never spoke to anyone. I had a mind and I just thought of, I wouldn't say a dark space, but
you were lonely. You isolated yourself. Put yourself in that space where I'm just going to be focused and locked in and lock off from the world and all types of stuff.
Yeah. And then I done that, and then I realized I don't know what I'm doing. Although I'm reading all these things, it's all good and well. I'm reading all these books. Robert Greene, I'm saying his name. 40 Laws of Power. 7 days. I'm not even going to name the books now. I know what books I'm talking about. But I'm reading all this, all good and well. I'm focusing. I've got my head down. But I'm not doing anything. I'm not, because one of the main things I remember saying, I said this in my seminar the other day, is relationships are everything. Relationships, networking. Yep. If you look at my LinkedIn, I think even my LinkedIn. That's right. I think my LinkedIn is LinkedIn in the bottom, because connections are everything. This is where I'm going to get my connections for my podcast, LinkedIn. And I think that's where I was able to get my work experience for Goldman Sachs, LinkedIn, JP Morgan. And I think when I tell people how old I am, because I don't even think LinkedIn has an age restriction, because networking shouldn't have an age restriction. But when I tell people how old I am, when I joined LinkedIn, I'm like, wow, what are you doing? You're the youngest person I'm connected with. And it's like, why aren't you guys on LinkedIn? Only 3 people I know that are on LinkedIn. And it's like, why are you not using your resources? There's so much you can do on a phone. A phone is basically a walking cash cow. There's so much you can do. There's crypto, there's... Actually, I'm not able to say, but what?
You're plugging now. You're plugging. Sponsor this podcast, please.
There's the podcast. You can do a podcast. I'm doing this on a laptop, and I spent about maybe like £10 at Amazon on this. On a microphone. There's so much you can do, you're just not using your resources. There's so much. The sky's the limit. You're only limiting yourself. Do you know what I mean? Me, if the doors are closed, I'm climbing through the windows.
Yeah. If the door's closed, I'm kicking it down.
You know what I mean? The doors are closed, I'm kicking it down and climbing through the windows. There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you. And the question I want you to ask yourself is the same question I think I asked Coach Sterling. The first thing is, who are you? When you question yourself and think, who are you? When you describe yourself, I would say I'm a 15-year-old. I'm an intelligent person. I carry myself to a high standard. I can never let myself drop down my standards. If you know me, I walk to school in a trench coat, Samuel Windsor's, Oxfords, tailored trousers, Charles Tyrwhitt shirt. You have to. It's not even like, although that's expensive thing, you don't have to spend money just to look good. And I think your appearance is everything. It's the first. When people look at you, what do they see? What do they see? Because I think it's a time and place. People have come up to me and they're like, talk to me with slang and all of it. Personally, I don't really like it. Because it's like, it's time and place. Like, if you're going to come to me on a professional level, come to me with respect. And I think that's one of the main things that young people actually lack. I think lack of respect and lack of mentality. I think
one thing you've got to realise, and I hate what you're saying about that, but you're not the average 15-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're talking to them about coming to you with respect and not with slang, you've got to understand, all right, that they are 15-year-olds of today that are probably not exposed to the things that you've chosen to expose yourself to. You know, you think about what you were doing in lockdown as opposed to what they were probably doing.
Yeah.
You know, you decided to go, linear, and they just decided to probably stay where they were. You know, so just remember, you're not an average 15-year-old.
Yeah. I think one of the main things, like me, I own 6 businesses, and I probably, to be honest, I can name them all to you, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell you what I do. Because although that sounds bad, but for where it is that I work so hard and I've got people that work with me, and it is where it is right now I opened a property maintenance business, so I'm working on a couple of properties. Last week we quoted up loft conversion, so doing a loft conversion, turning a loft into 2 rooms and a bedroom. And when people actually ring me, they speak to me on the phone and they come see me, like, how old? I say I'm 15, and they're like, how are you able to do this? And it's like, for me, I explain to them my story, and after they're shocked, and it's like, when I tell 15-year-olds my story, why aren't you shocked? Why are you kind of this so, what's the word, relaxed about it? Because how I see it is, I know this kind of sounds like, what's the word? I don't think I'm going to use the right word, but what I'm going to say is that tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. And one of the main things, one of the things I said to the 17-year-olds is that at the end of the day, when you, what we remember you by? Because if God forbid you was I'm going to die tomorrow, what do we remember you by? What is there to commemorate you? Because for me, I pray this legacy is worth living to me. And what is there to remember you by? Who do you see yourself as? What would you say on the map?
We always want to build a legacy. We always want to be remembered for, the right thing, despite there being probably some discretions in your life. But if you know that every day you're doing, what you feel is right, and what you believe is right, then you're living a good life.
Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about is routine.
Oh,
routine.
Listen,
routine.
This is me to a T.
Routine. If some of you may know my routine is a mad routine. My routine, I wake up at 4 a.m. I will go for a run. I go to the gym. Then I go head down to my office. I do a little bit of work in my office. Then after that, I go to school. I go to school for about 6 hours. I don't leave school until, funny enough, maybe about 4:35, because I'm doing extra work after school just to make sure I've done it, so I don't have to do it when I get home. After I've left school, go straight to my office. I do extra work. I go home. Bear in mind, I have not eaten since 12 o'clock. And then I eat maybe about 8. I go home, I have my shower and so on. And I only get maybe about an hour of relaxation. And I go to bed and I do it all again. But I think for routine is that I'm not going to be out the person here because I think that's quite wrong. But we, in year 10 right now, if we're studying business, we have a business assessment we're doing right now. And the business assessment started around maybe about 9 o'clock. The business assessment finishes at maybe about 12:40. And one person rocks up at 12:35. And we asked them, where have you been? Sleeping. Why are you so... This. Bear in mind, this is 30% of your GCSE grade. Where's the drive gone? That's what I wanna think. Where do you think the drive's gone? So asking Coach Sterling, what is your routine? Why have you never broken that routine? How long have you been going like
this? I started coaching in South London in, I want to say 2007. My big thing was I was traveling from West London to South London. I wanted to get over early, firstly to beat the traffic. And then a school opened their doors to me and said, it's a girls' school. You can come in whatever time you need. So we used to start practice at 6 in the morning. And all I know is early morning stuff.
Yeah.
All I know is early morning stuff because
early bird catches the worm.
Yeah, and I just believe that, if I'm up before others, then I've got a head start.
100%.
All right. If I get up after 8 o'clock on a weekend, I feel funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done something wrong. Everybody who knows me knows that I can't relax if I get up late.
I know.
And it's just like I don't use an alarm clock. I'm up at 5 every day. Because it's a passion. It's just an inner drive that I've got. That I just have to be up.
That's where I am. I think for me, obviously, like I said, I wake up at 4 a.m. and you gotta realize your brain's a muscle, and it's not gonna grow unless you work it out. And you gotta program your brain to wake up at a certain time. And sometimes I wake up and I message some people and I'm like, I'm still sleeping. This is 1 a.m., 1 p.m. 1 p.m. I'm still sleeping at 1 p.m. And it's like, you do realize while you're sleeping, half of us are done a day already. You know what I mean? By the time 1 p.m., I've done my day. Half of it is done already. By the time 1 p.m., if I'm working at JP Morgan, I've done my lunch break. I'm back at work. Yeah. So 1 p.m. and you're still sleeping, like, you've got how many hours left? 13 hours. What are you going to do with 13 hours? Although that sounds like, a long time.
Cram everything in.
I know.
And then you're going to go back to bed again.
Exactly. Bear in mind, my business assessment is 11 hours. And you're still sleeping at 1 p.m. It's like, you're not pushing yourself to your full potential. And you got to do that. Nobody else is going to do that. I mean, some people may be there, come on, do this. Like, have you watched that Rocky movie? That Rocky movie, it was, this is actually where I got the quote from. I was watching the Rocky movie and I can't remember what he said. He goes, damn, Rock. And Rocky goes, let's do this tomorrow. And he goes, there is no tomorrow. Have you seen the quote? Have you seen that movie? Yeah. I can't remember what movie that is though. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that's where I got the quote from. There is no tomorrow. You stop procrastinating. Procrastination, I think, is killing the young people. I think the fact that you get to the point where it's like deadlines. You can't hand it in an hour before the exam. You can't hand it in an hour before the deadline. That just shows you are unorganized. Yeah. Unorganized person. And you see, like, when you're applying for jobs like JP Morgan and so on, one of the main things they ask you is, how organized? How organized are you? What are you doing on a daily basis? That maybe think like, this is personal questions, but at the end of the day, they're trying to see who you are as a character. Because if you're going to JP Morgan, you're going to places. This is a financial institution. If you're account management, you're handling accounts with Tesco, Asda, all of these large companies, and they got to trust you. You understand? They got to trust that you are able to get to work at the time. Like my time for work is 8 to 6, and I get to work at maybe about 7, and I finish about maybe about 8 o'clock, and I'll just do it overtime. Make sure I'm doing the extra work. Make sure I do the extra work, because one thing I remember saying, not saying, I remember reading. I can't remember what book it says, but it says, "What if you do more, then you'll be paid to do less. Paid more to do less." Do you go and get? Do you go and go with that? Because CEOs, me as a CEO, although I run these businesses, I'm not doing as much as I used to, because now I've got other people to help me do it. So if you would have known me in maybe about 2021, I was running 6 businesses by myself. I was stressed. Literally, I'm telling you, I was bolder. I was bolder for how stressed I was. And once you get to a certain point where you're able to help, where people's able to help you, one of the main things I'm going to say to you is you got to respect those people. Because one thing I hate is when celebrities kind of cuss off their fans. Your fans are the people, the reason why you're there. And me, I can never become disrespectful. I have to respect people, and I think from me being around older people all the time, so that's being around my nan. Like me, if I'm eating at a table with my family, I can't leave the table. I have to ask to be excused from the table.
That's standard.
I can't just leave the table. I have to ask to be excused from the table, and that's standard manners. And I think one of the main things that young people learn, common courtesy. Common courtesy. Thank you. Your please and thank yous. Where's your manners?
Yeah, that's what this basketball academy that we've got in the school is. It's one of those things that, all right, please, thank you, good afternoon, good night.
If I give you something and you don't say thank you, you just know I'm just gonna hold that thing and look at you until you realise what I'm saying. If you don't say thank you, I'm just like.
At present, he's holding out his phone.
Yes. Oh yeah, you can't see. I forgot you can't see, but oh man, this is.
We are live.
Yes, but yeah, I'm gonna just hold it out and just wait for you to say it, because after that you become a self-conscious mentality of even what's the word? You just say it regardless. It's not even, you don't even got to think about it. It's not even like, automatic. Automatic. That's the word I'm looking for. Like for my dad, when I see my mum and dad in the mornings, it's always, oh, good morning, a hug, simple things. And even for me, when I go to houses that don't do that, it's second nature to me. I'm thinking, what is going on here? Because that's just standard for me. It's so much standard for me, and it's like that's why I get agitated when I speak to people that don't have the same drive as me, because I've been built on this so long. It's like it's a bit cliche and it's a bit what's the word? I wouldn't say rude, but it's a bit
expected.
Yeah, because I have not showed you the way, and I think that's like Wilson's law. Wilson's law says you can't expect someone to do the job if you haven't shown them how to do it, and I think. I kind of sometimes I may be a little bit expecting, but I think that's because I expect better from them. Certain people I just kind of expect better from, and I think you should know this already. But I think one of the main things that, as a generation, and it sounds wrong, sometimes when people even ask me my age, I even stutter because I even forget I'm 15. Literally, who asked me my age the other time when I stuttered because I forgot I was 15. Literally, I forgot I was 15. Literally.
Watching too much Rocky 3.
I know. Literally, someone goes, how old are you? And I started, like, literally, I thought, I was like, wait, what? How old am I? Because I've been so old soul, like me. I listened to, when I was, Culture Capital Day, and I was people, I think they were playing.
Tell everyone what Culture Capital Day is.
So Culture Capital Day essentially was a day where we all come in our cultural clothing, so eat different types of food. So that's food from Nigeria, Jamaica, etc., Saudi Arabia, and so on. And we all come in our culture dress. And imagine they were playing drill when they got given a speaker. I changed it over because obviously I'm not.
I remember that.
I changed it over. I'm not hearing that. I don't want to hear it. I changed it over to Feel Good by. No, it wasn't Feel Good. It was. It was Beres Hammond, but I can't remember what song it was. I think it was I can't remember. When I know the song, I'll tell you. But I changed over, and they're like, "Oh, why are you playing that song? That song's so old." And it's for me, like when I told people about like when I listen to all the Jamaican people, and they're like, "Oh, these are the songs that I hear at the parties. The uncles in the corner that are dancing with their company, 1-2 step." It's 2-step, not 1-2 step, isn't it? It's 2-step. It's 2-step, yeah. 1-2 step, you know. But it's like, let me hear the song. It's Who's Saved by Beres Hammond and BG Banton. That's a classic. And for me, it's like so many people like.
It's Buju, not Buju. Buju.
What he said. But yeah, it's like I think a lot of people, one of the main things, sometimes you don't accept your culture. You don't accept your culture.
So you have to accept your culture.
Don't accept your culture. For me, growing up in the Jamaican household, just know if you're in bed past 8 o'clock, they come in there, they drag you out of bed and open all the blinds and let some air in here.
Yep.
I'm even trying to do that accent before I get cussed off.
Yeah.
But I think that's one thing that's growing me. Because I still get PTSD if I'm up, if I'm in bed before 8 o'clock, and I know my mother's even in the house. I feel like she'll just spawn there. And I think that's one thing that's gonna haunt me. Because when I buy my own house, just know I'm up before 8 o'clock before my mum comes in there.
Knocking on the door.
Yeah. I know that's something my mum would do, though. That's something my mum would do, but it's like that's how I've been growing up. Me, I go to church every Sunday, and that's because I've been forced to. And even so, I do enjoy church. I still go because in my full will. But it's like for me,
you are a young Mr. Hewitt. For those of you that don't know who Mr. Hewitt is, he's the head of sixth form at Sedgehill Academy, amongst other things. Absolutely inspirational figure. This is Junior Hewitt.
But I still go to church because that's one of the main things is that I love God, I love Jesus, I'm a Christian, and I've even got my Bible in my bag now. I carry it around with it all the time. And from young, I was always forced to go to church, and I kind of hated it. You know, I was sitting in the corner, sulking because I got out of bed too early. But I'm telling you, sometimes it was kind of long. You know, you'll be in there from I'm pretty
whole
sure
day.
Whole day.
Sunday finish.
I'm telling you. I'm so lucky I was able to skip it out on Christmas Day. You know, because it's long. Christmas Day, you'll be there for the next 7 hours. And I'm telling you, one of the main things I hate about my household, is that on Christmas Day, we're not allowed to open presents until after dinner.
Madness.
So,
Madness. I've done that.
I know. You're just staring at it. And my mum is one of those people that's like, give me an hour, give me 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and when you wake up again, longest 10 minutes of your life. And I'm telling you, I used to get up at like 3 a.m. I used to get up at like 3 a.m. and I'd be sitting there just trying to find something to do. I'd be bored. Yeah. But for me, one of the main things I think is accept your culture. Accept your culture, because I think your culture is one thing that makes you. Yeah. My culture made me. Me living in a Jamaican household, having a Jamaican family. If you do something foolish, just know it goes to one person, and then your granddad. Everyone knows. And everyone knows a different version. I know. So imagine, my auntie is my business teacher. Yeah, I didn't do the homework one day. My auntie told my mum, and then my granddad in Jamaica rings me and goes, "Why you kick your auntie and walk out the door for?" I'm like, what? Thinking, what are you talking about?
The delivery on certain things, second to none.
Oh man, but it's like, for me, but I think one of the main things, although it was so bizarre, but that's why family is key for me.
Oh, love family. Family over everything.
Like me, Christmas is one of my favourite times of the year. I don't even celebrate my birthday. But Christmas is one of my favourite times of the year because everyone comes. It's Nan's house, everyone's there. Everyone's there. Like, even though some of the seniors would just be sleeping in the corner, they're still there. Their presence is felt. Yeah. And you know, when they hear their songs, they go up and start dancing. But I think that's one of the main times, and I think one of the main things that drives me is that my family, they're there for me. Yeah. There for me. Yeah. When I had a show the other day, and had an inspirational show, and just seeing my family in the corner,
it drives you.
I'll just speaking. And bear in mind, let me tell you a little something. Yeah. Bear in mind, we've been filming for about 50 minutes, and I only had one question wrote down. I'm telling you, one of the main things is that when you're comfortable and you're alright with your surroundings, it just comes to you. It's flow.
Depends on where you're comfortable,
Yes,
though. Because I'm the type of person, I wanted to do this, but I was very unsure about doing it because, you know, I don't like talking a lot. I do talk a lot, but I don't like talking a lot in front of people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like me, I had a forecast before and I hated it. You know, when I just wanted to do it for the sake of doing it and I couldn't find a purpose why I was doing it. So all of my episodes of the podcast just seemed like foolishness. But needless to say, I think one of the main things, and before I end this off, one of the main things I want to say is that I'm going to put my socials in the thing and I'm going to open my LinkedIn for you. As one of the challenges I'm going to give you young people, if you're serious and you want help, I want you to make a LinkedIn account and message me. That's one of the main things, because I think one of the main things I say to my mentors, my mentees, is that I can't help you if you're not willing to help yourself. You have to take in every single word I'm saying to you. So, although I'm not giving you an easy way out, I'm saying to you, make an account, and I know it's so easy because you lot have been making several accounts on TikTok to get your 1,000 followers.
To get your likes and
Yeah, you know what I mean?
subscribes.
You've been doing that on TikTok. I know. Because sometimes when I go on TikTok, it says, you may know this person and it's some fake account, but their number's signed up to it. I know. I see. So I know you're able to create a LinkedIn account. So make a LinkedIn account, and if you seriously want the help, message me. If you're able to message me, just connect with me, message me, and we'll go from there. But is there any key points you want to say before we end this off?
I've just enjoyed it. I've just enjoyed this live show. I'm going to leave you to plug my LinkedIn, because, you know, I don't even know how to use LinkedIn. But
Yeah,
I was told,
one came up.
I was told that you need to have a LinkedIn. So, you know, this champion right here is gonna plug me, and, you know, I just really appreciate what you do, not only for you know the kids at school, but for your family and for yourself. It's an inspiration.
Thank you.
And people should just be proud of you.
Thank you. So, I'm going to end this out now. So, thank you for listening to the first episode of the Innovators Table. So, yeah, if you enjoyed that episode, make sure you just, what's the word? This is not YouTube. I can't say like and subscribe. You can't subscribe.
Download.
Yeah, just download it. Just follow it. But yeah, everything's in the description below. That's my LinkedIn, all of my socials. The London Funders Instagram is in the description below. Coach Sterling's LinkedIn is in the description below.
Sedgehill Academy will be in the LinkedIn, and the Instagram account will be there.
Yeah, everything's there in the description below. And yeah, this is the first episode of the season. So there's going to be about, don't quote me, I think maybe about 10, 6, 8 episodes, more than 5 episodes, but it's going to be in a season. So the next episode should be Mr. Hughes' episode. Don't kill me if it's not, but the next episode should be Mr. Hughes' episode. Anyways, I'm going to end this out. Thank you and good night.
Thank you for listening to the Innovator Table with Terrell Ferron. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to hear more about the work I do, you can head to my link tree, which is in the description below. If you'd like to find me on Instagram, that'll be at @emeryterrellferron. And if you'd rather email me, you can email me at t.ferron@icloud.com. t.ferron@icloud.com.